Welcome Nose Creek students, staff, and school community to our 2021 Remembrance Day virtual assembly. Please stand for the entrance of our Nose Creek Color Party. Following this, remain standing for the playing of O Canada. Please be seated. We will now be watching a tribute video in recognition of our Canadian forces. This is an homage to all the brave men and women who have served and continue to serve our country.
Soldiers fought and battles won for peace on earth until the fighting's done. They left their homes and said goodbye to fight a war their mothers left to cry. We remember when we love, when we give. We remember when we stop and forgive. We remember so many lives they never lived. We remember. We bow our heads and close our eyes to honor those who freely gave their lives. Bring them home keep them safe. Freedom's ours because they were so brave. We remember when we love, when we give. We remember when we stop and forgive. We remember so many lives they never lived. Let their stories change your heart. We remember when we love, when we give. We remember when we stop and forgive. We remember so many lives they never lived. We remember. Soldiers fought and battles won for peace on earth. Oh, let the fight be done.
We will now be watching several of our grade 4 students as they present to us an important message about the meaning and significance of the poppy.
The red poppy, a native plant along much of the Western Front during the First World War, has become a powerful symbol of remembrance. It is a principal emblem of the Royal Canadian Legion, which distributes several million each year to be worn by Canadians on Remembrance Day.
"Please wear a poppy," the lady said, and held one forth, but I shook my head. Then I stopped and watched as she offered them there, and her face was old and lined with care, but beneath the scars years had made, there remained a smile that refused to fade.
A boy came whistling down the street, bouncing along on carefree feet. His smile was full of joy and fun. Lady said, "May I have one?" When she pinned it on, he turned to say, "Why are you wearing that poppy today?" The lady smiled in a wistful way and then said, "This is Remembrance Day, and the poppy there is the symbol for the gallant men who died in war. And because they did, you and I are free. That's why we wear a poppy, you see."
I had a boy about your size, with golden hair and big blue eyes. He loved to play, jump, and shout. As free as a bird, he would race about. As years went by, he learned and grew, and became a man, as you will too.
He was fine and strong with a boyish smile, but it seemed he was with us such a little while. When war broke out, he went away. I still remember his face that day. When he smiled at me and said goodbye, "I'll be back soon. Mom, please don't cry." But the war went on and he had to stay, and all I could do was wait and play. His letters told of the awful fight I can still see in my dreams at night, with the tanks and guns and crew by, the mines and bullets and the bombs and fire.
Till at last, the war is won, and that's why we wear our poppy sun. The small boy turned as if to go, then said, "Thanks, lady, I'm glad to know. That sure did sound like an awful fight, but your son, did he come back all right?"
A tear rolled down each faded cheek. She shook her head but didn't speak. I slunk away and sort of shame. If you were me, you would have done the same. For our thanks and giving, if oft delayed, thought our freedom was bought and thousands paid. And so when we see a poppy won, let us reflect on the burden borne by those who gave their very all when asked to answer their country's call, that we at home in peace might live, and wear a poppy, remember and give.
Please join us in watching and listening to our first Remembrance Day choral selection, A Simple Song of Peace, performed by the choir students in 4C and 4Q.
We will sing will sing a song for every season. We will sing a simple song of peace. Don't know peace, don't know his portion. Grant us peace, grant us peace. We will sing a song for every season. We will sing a simple song of peace. Don't know peace, don't know his portion. Grant us peace, grant us peace, grant us
I would now like to extend a special welcome and thank you to Rocky View's Director of Schools and former principal of Nose Creek Elementary School, John Murphy, who has put together a personal video in honor of our Remembrance Day Assembly.
Hello, students of Nose Creek Elementary School. My name is Mr. Murphy. I know some of you, as I once was the principal of your beautiful school. Your amazing music teacher, Mrs. Keneally, asked me if I would take a few minutes to record and share what I think about on November the 11th, Remembrance Day. Before I start, I thought it would be appropriate to say a hello to the parents of Nose Creek Elementary School, and I want to acknowledge Mrs. Martin, the principal, and her excellent staff. Like many Canadians on November the 11th, I take time to reflect on Remembrance Day and I guess why I wear a poppy. First, it's the big picture. I think of those soldiers in World War I, World War II, and the Korean War, and all the conflicts that have taken place since. I think of those who sacrificed all they had for us so we have freedom in Canada today. What I mean by the ultimate sacrifice is I think of those who died in wars so that you and I may be free to live our lives in Canada as we choose. Here are some examples of the freedom we enjoy as Canadians. When your parents vote, that's freedom. When they drive their car across Canada without being stopped, when you attend the school of your choosing, that is freedom. Today in Canada, you can write articles for the newspaper. You can express your personal beliefs. You can go to a church of your choosing. That is freedom. You can choose to assemble in peaceful groups and express your ideas. These are freedoms that were safeguarded by the soldiers who fought for us to protect our way of life in Canada. The way we live today in our towns and our cities and in the countryside, the way we think, and what we believe is the normal way to live, was a gift that came at a very high price from fallen soldiers. So today, when I travel freely in Canada, feeling safe and protected, I reflect and give thanks to those who served in the military in what has become known as the armed forces. What else do I think of? I also think of a smaller picture. I think of my uncle Edward, who served in World War II. He never really talked about the war after he returned home. We knew he had been wounded in the shoulder by enemy fire late in the war, and the result was he could never sleep in any one position for a long time. Many years went by, and when my uncle became an old man, his sister, my mom, started getting letters from people wanting to know if my uncle was alive and how they could get in touch with him. In the summers prior to my uncle passing away, gray-haired, slow-moving World War II veterans with kind smiles came to visit him in his house in a small village where we lived and where he had retired. They came to say thank you to him. Apparently my uncle, who was an expert swimmer, had rescued those men early in the war when their ship sank. From stories my mom told me, I know Uncle Edward was at one time stationed on a Navy destroyer escorting convoys of ships to England by way of Iceland. I do not know if that is where he saved these men's lives, but when I think of him on Remembrance Day, I think of the icy North Atlantic waters and the crews of many ships that were torpedoed by submarines. I happened to be in my uncle's yard one day, actually riding my bike, when one of the veterans who was leaving his house asked me if my uncle had told the story of how he had saved so many lives and if I had seen his medals. My uncle never told that story to me or anyone that I know of. And the first time we saw his medals was when my mom cleaned out his house after he had passed. So I think about him on Remembrance Day and how brave he was and how young he was and how young all the other soldiers were. I think about how it would feel to leave home waving goodbye to your mom, to your dad, to your brothers, to your sisters. I think about how I know where my son is because I can text him night or day, or I can use the Find My iPhone app. But their moms and their dads waited months for a letter that may have never come. I think of how young they were and how courageous they must have been. I think about how frightened and scared they were when they were in combat, and how happy they were to make friends, eat a good meal, and simply be warm on a cold winter's night. There's plenty to think about. I even think of a smaller picture when I think of you, my audience today, you who are listening to me right now. I was a principal for a long time, and as I said, the former principal of some of you. I know how amazing you are, how bright and intelligent. I know you are a gift to this school, to your family, to your community, and you're a gift to Canada. To be honest, I think society needs you to get a great education, to grow up healthy and grow up wise, and help find solutions to problems that exist today and problems that may arise in the future. What do I think? I think we need to be kind and supportive of each other. We must accept each other for who we are, regardless of race, creed, or color. I think of you developing the skills to make a new friend on the playground and using those same skills to welcome a new neighbor when you're an adult. I think about you using your skill and your expertise to make the world a better place. And I hope you never have to wave goodbye to go to a far-off land to fight a war. In conclusion, I think the little things like going out of your way to make someone feel welcome changes the world, and that becomes a big thing. I would invite you at some point today to take a couple of minutes with your family and silently reflect and give thanks to those who fought and gave their lives for us. Thank you for listening, lest we forget.
Our Nose Creek students from kindergarten to grade 4 will now share a series of poems to honor and remember the sacrifice of so many brave Canadians, both past and present heroes of our country. We will now be watching and listening to our second Remembrance Day choral selection, A Wish for Peace, performed by the choir students in 4B and 4T.
I wish for you, I wish for me, I wish for all the world to live in harmony. When I look into the sky,
We will now have several students in uniform laying wreaths on behalf of Nose Creek Elementary School. Please stand. Remembrance Day ceremonies have played a major role in Canada since 1931. Every year, at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, we gather in memorial parks, community halls, workplaces, schools, and homes to stand in honor of all those who fought for our freedom. Together we observe a moment of silence to mark the sacrifice of the many who have fallen in the service of their country and to acknowledge the courage of those who still serve. Students of Nose Creek, I would ask that you stand and lend your voice to the following slideshow while we sing along as a school to the song I Love This Country.
I love this country, I love this land, the earth beneath my feet, in this place I stand. I love this country, which
Please remain standing as we pay tribute to Remembrance Day, a day for all Canadians to remember the men and women who served and sacrificed for our country. It is a day we encourage every individual, young and old, to pause, to give thanks, and to remember. In conclusion of today's assembly, we will enjoy Nose Creek School's traditional closing song, I Am Proud to Be in Canada.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, worked for all my life, and I had to start again, just my children and my wife, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be in Canada, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. Bless you, Canada. From the shores of Nova Scotia to the forests in BC, Montreal to Winnipeg, from sea to shining sea. From Detroit we can see her above the USA, 'cause there's pride in every Canadian heart, and it's time you stand and say that I'm proud to be in Canada, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. Yes, you Canada. I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. Bless you, Canada. And I'm proud to be in Canada, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. Bless you, Canada. Stand up next to
Please remain standing as our Nose Creek Color Party exits and our assembly concludes.